Everyone, this is Jagger here with Brushers Toys, and today we are going to start doing our Velociraptor series from Jurassic Park all the way up to Jurassic World Rebirth. However, I want to ask before you guys watch this video all the way through, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit those notifications so you guys are notified the minute that our video goes live when we post our new content. We love making these videos for you all, and we've seen such an influx of people coming to watch our videos, but we haven't seen the subscribers. So we're asking guys just to subscribe to that channel, give us a like, and it just really helps us keep going and growing with our content. But back to it, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the 93 line and go up through the Lost World. There's so many Velociraptors that we can go through, and I'm not going to try to cram them all in just one video. I like breaking them up into segments so you guys can actually see the difference of the toys through the years and really get a feel for what toys were like in 93 up into 2025 with the detail, the paint, the sculpt, all that. But what we'll do is let's just dive in and we'll get started with one of the very first toys I ever had from Jurassic Park was the Velociraptor. Now, what I really loved about these guys was the simplicity of it. These figures, I think, retailed for like $6, you know, and it came with a card, and there was no capture gear. But what I really loved about these figures is the paint, the detail. It is all hard plastic. The feature on here was if you squeeze the leg, it opened up the mouth. And as you can see, like, I mean, it is older. This one's been played outside to death, but the claws were fully painted. You know, you had this really cool paint job on here. And let me grab another one from the 93. I had a lot of the Raptors, you know, and like you can see, like the jaws just, you know, they didn't really open up. I think just, you know, over time, it's probably the spring is wore out. But, I mean, like, you had to have a pack of Raptors. And what I really loved about this was, just like I said, the simplicity of it, guys. Like, I never thought that this was really phony. I mean, the arms are really heavy duty. I don't think you could easily break the arms off unless you intentionally did it. But let's even look at our 93 one. And like I said, the feature works, but the mouth just doesn't really open. And I can't tell you, like, I mean, you know, you used to play with them and that was that feature, but you know, you can see. So what we'll do is like, I know I picked on Muldoon in our T-Rex video, but we'll use Grant from Dominion to see how well it scales to. And then we'll even grab Grant from the original line and show you how well it scales too. So you can see the scale in the figures here. And, you know, guys, I'll be truthful and honest like I always am in all these videos and our unboxings and such. But I never worried about the scale of the figure. I never worried that it didn't scale well with it or it was not proportionally accurate. Like, I looked at it as playability and the fun on here. Like, there was just so much, you know, like these figures, like they were outside and they still hold up, you know. Like I said, the arms aren't broken, none of that. But that's the scale wise too. But what we'll do is now, one of the things, just bear in mind, we'll use this Raptor for scale. This was the electronic one that came out in the main line as well. And what I loved about this Raptor, I will show you guys. I've got to find my battery cover. I pulled this out of storage too. And I've got to replace the battery so we can get it. But what I loved about this figure here is it came with this jump attack. And I just thought that this was such a cool feature that I just would love to see come back, you know, with the Mattel line. I'd love to see it, you know, because it had that feature of it's coming like attacking Muldoon, you know. But one of the things that, taking into account, look at the teeth. They were soft rubber. The tongue was rubber. The rest is all plastic. And the claws were painted everywhere. And you can see the paint job. Really cool paint job. You couldn't open and close the mouth though. I think this figure retailed, if I recall, it was like $10 or $11. Again, came with a card, no capture gear. I will tell you that they did re-release this figure. I believe it was in '99. It was the Walmart exclusive Dinosaur line. I unfortunately don't have that figure anymore, but it was a different paint of this Raptor. But this was such a cool figure. And I mean, I really like the action features on this, and I thought these Raptors were just really cool because this was something completely different for that time. But I'll show you like scale wise, you know, about the same size. But this is supposed to be, I believe, the dominant one that kills Muldoon. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what we'll do is we'll set that there, and then we can set our other guys back. But basically, now we're going to jump into 1994. So we've got our 93. That was all the Raptor figures there were. Then comes 1994, and we come out with the Utah Raptor. Now, what I love about the Utah Raptor is this figure is full rubber, other than the legs and the arms are hard plastic. And this figure came with capture gear. This was part of the Dino Trackers line and the Evil Raiders. So you had the capture gear. And one thing that you guys gotta just note, like I've shown you guys with like the newer capture gear that Mattel released, it's more of a rubber than it is plastic. One thing with the plastic on these older pieces of capture gear, they do break. They are brittle. That was one of the only drawbacks with it. But like with the Utah Raptor, it came with that feature of where you click behind here, and it had that jump attack. So it was made to, you know, attack the figure. And one of the cool things, this was one of the first times, I believe it was the first Raptor figure that you could do that, where you could actually turn the talons. And I thought that was such a cool feature. I need to put batteries in this as well so I can show you guys and let you hear the electronics on here, because the electronics still work. This is the figure from '94. So, you know, and I'll tell you guys a story. I think I've said it in one of our videos before. We've done the Raptors, some of the Raptors. You guys have asked about Utah Raptors. I'll never forget, Walmart, I believe, had, and I was younger, but they had like 20 or 30 of these boxes just stacked all the way to the top, and it looked like they were going to go to the ceiling. And I believe that they were like $10 or $11 on clearance. It was crazy. But this figure here is actually one of my favorite Raptor releases of all time. And I would love to see this figure come back in the 94 throwback series, just because I wouldn't even change anything about it. I just have it as is, you know, because this is just such a cool figure, because this is the Utah Raptor. And, you know, it was just such a unique figure to come out at that time. And it was, I believe it might have been one of the first Series 2 dinosaurs released. But scale-wise, you could see just, you know, how big it is compared to the regular Raptor and even the electronic Raptor. You know, and then these were, guys, the only Velociraptors that were released until the 1997 Lost World line. So, you know, you have like, look at how it is to the Dominion series. It's really cool, you know, the Dominion line. But what we'll do is we'll leave this here for scale too. You can see that my action feature, let's see. See, and if you click the button too, the mouth does move. You gotta set it because it's older, but you see, like, you push the button here, and that's that action feature. But what we'll do now, we've got our Utah Raptor, we've got our electronic Raptor, we've got the regular Velociraptor. We've got Grant. We do have Jurassic Park 3 Grant too, and I know I've got the motorcycle there from Jurassic Park 3 for scale size too. We could use a car. We do have the motorhome to show for scale, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually dive into the Lost World. And basically the Lost World, guys, there were not that many Raptors released in that line as well. I believe there were the 3, well, no, there were 4, and I'll show you those. This is just the repaint of the original Raptor, and you can see like the spring action still works where the mouth opens. This guy did come with capture gear. There were no cards with the Lost World series line. And you have this figure here, and what was cool is they had the Site B stamp because the other island. But this was the figure, is the exact same mold. As you guys can see, the exact same mold, the exact same scale. Everything's the same on here. The teeth, the jaw. It's just a darker, vibrant paint. So you could see, you know, how well this paint held up. That's the Lost World Velociraptor. Not a lot to it. Like I said, capture gear. It had a muzzle, and then it had a back brace with a rod. And that was it. And I just have to go through storage to find those. But the one Raptor figure that was such a cool release was, it was called Snapjaw. And this was from the Lost World. This was the electronic version that replaced this one. Now, some people, like, I know some of my buddies used to be like, oh my gosh, this Raptor's like so overweight. Look at it, you know, it's ugly. And I have to admit, this was one of my favorite Raptor figures that was released, because it had the electronics and it had the movie paint job to it, you know. So you had this electronic figure, and I believe it came with a leg brace, like a leg collar tag, if I recall. It might not have. I'm sorry, guys. Like I'm not an entirely expert, you know. I'm not the professional expert on every toy that was ever released. Like I've told you guys in the past, I don't own every single toy that's ever been released either. I was just a collector and was able to acquire what I could when I was younger. But this was one of my favorite Raptor figures. I wish that this one would come back as well, just so people had an opportunity to buy this actual figure, not the repaints on the newer stuff, but just this actual figure. But you can see like the talons, everything was painted. It just had this really cool paint style to it. But again, like I said, you know, like you look at it, it does look a little pregnant, but that's the scale wise to the old electronic. And then even compared to the Utah Raptor, like you could see, it's pretty cool. I didn't actually notice how similar the paint colors are in that until just looking at it. But you can see scale-wise just with the Utah Raptor, and then scale-wise with the original classic Raptor. Really cool. But the Lost World line, what we'll do is we'll set that there too. They came out with some really unique figures for the Series 2 line. And like there was the Cyclops Raptor. And I like this. This one as well came with capture gear. Now, this one has a bunch of scars. Like it has teeth marks taken out of it, you know, like a bunch of skin missing. And the action feature was just moving the tail. This figure here, I really liked because it was finally something different of a Velociraptor sculpt. You know, it gave us something a little different. And I love, you know, one of the things too, guys, like, and this is where I always stand at, is the price point with these figures back then. These were like only $6. Like, I mean, they weren't anything like astronomical, you know, where like I get like times are different now, but like I just love that the play features, there were just these little gimmicks that, you know, weren't overly, you know, like the arms wouldn't break off, any of that. But what I just loved with this figure is it was just simple, and it was something different. And it gave the Raptors a whole different look because the black and the white, so unique, and it's missing an eye. That's why they called it the Cyclops Raptor. This one has some stories to tell, I'm sure. You know, and like I said, it's missing chunks of its tail, but just to show you guys, it is a different sculpt than the regular Raptor. This was the first sculpt that they changed on. So you can see the feet are a lot bigger. I think they did that on purpose to help it stand because, like, you know, it was what it was. And the teeth are a lot more detailed, you know. But you can see just like the paint. And then let's show you it compared to the electronic Raptor. You know, it stands about the same. And then you have the Snapjaw Raptor. So, you know, the Snapjaw is still the leader. And then you have, let's do the Utah Raptor. So you can see just how tall it is. and then scale it with Grant, you know, and just like stand those there. Seeing, like, you could see even like the Dominion figures, how small they are compared to that. It's just super cool to see all these, you know, like getting them back out of storage and looking at these. I just think that it's such a thrill to see all this and make these videos. It's just so cool to see. But so the last raptor that they released in the Jurassic Park line for the Lost World was the Utah Raptor. Now this, if I recall, was a Target exclusive set. It did come with a dinosaur tracker figure that I believe was a repaint of, it was either Harpoon Harrison or Jaws Jackson, if I recall. I'd have to find the figure in the set. This one did not come with capture gear, I don't believe either. But what was different is if you look, this one also does not have the electronic features on here. It just came with the action feature itself. And what I love about this one is I really like the paint on here. One of the things though is you can see the leg on this. I can tell you guys, like, that's just wear and tear through the years. But what I loved is like you can see the paint. It is the exact same figure as the original Utah Raptor, just different paint. And like you see that it's got the screw marks here. Well, that's for the electronics. There's no screw marks here, so there are no electronics on here. That was only one of the sad things with this figure. But again, you can move the talons. You can do that action feature. Just a really cool figure. This in my opinion was one of the harder ones to acquire too from the Lost World line, only because it was an exclusive set to a retailer. It might have been Toys R Us or it might have been Target. I'm sorry guys, like I said, I'm no expert in this. I'm just a collector. Teeth are super sharp, really cool, and you can see it scale. Again, Alan Grant. So like Grant from Dominion fits right in there. I just really thought that this was such a cool line of figures that they released. And then, like I said, guys, this was the Velociraptor series up until you had the Chaos Effect line. And that'll be in our next video. We will go through Chaos Effect line all the way up into Jurassic World. We're even going to go into the Amber collection as well as we'll do the Hammond collection and the Super Colossals to show you guys every figure that's been released that we have. And there will even be figures that we haven't even opened that we'll be able to show you guys some of the rare raptors that we've been able to acquire and find. But I wanted to do this introduction video. Let's start out the gate doing Jurassic Park and the Lost World. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. We do appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. You guys have been phenomenal. I just ask again that if you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Turn on those notifications. Leave us a comment if there's a certain video you guys want us to make. We'll gladly make it. We'll compare any and all toys that you're looking for, and we'll show those off in the video for you. Thank you so much for watching this. Have a great day.